Hello, welcome specially to Bengineer Construction Lecture Hall. Please do well to follow this page if this is the first time you're coming across my video for more updates as regards to construction. So today we are going to look at a topic I titled loading of structures. Loading of structures. Now, when we talk about loading of structures, basically we are looking at the self-weight of the various structural components, the life loads, the dead load, generally all loads, on that structure. Okay, summation of this load is usually transmitted or transferred to the soil. Okay, it is the soil that bears the entire load. All right, so that sequential transfer of this load should be enhanced. Okay, that systematic transfer of the load should be enhanced. To enhance, that will guarantee or bring about the stability of the structure. Now, loading of our structures, we are looking at it during dry season and during wet season. Okay, then we are also looking at it with respect to soil type. We are looking at it with respect to soil types. Okay, now we're going to look at clay soil, for example. Okay, clay soil. Now, as you know, clay soil is very compressible. Okay, it has that expansive nature and is dynamic, such that it swells when it is wet and dries. Okay, and shrinks when it is dry. Okay, you see that the seasonal variation now, okay, has great impact on clay soil. That is what I want you to understand. The variations, okay, the seasonal variation have direct implication or influences the behavior of our clay soil. Also other types of soils as well. All right, now during construction, most times you see that when we construct during the wet season, okay, during the wet season on a clay soil, you see that at that time the clay soil has absorbed water. When you do your foundation and you start loading, what I mean loading, imposing the structure itself, the component that makes up that from the foundation, to the superstructure. That is you are imposing that load on that soil at that particular time. In this case, during the wet season. Now, during the wet season, you see that the soil will swell. Okay, it will swell. So when you now load it, it will accept the load. For example, this is our base. This is our base on a clay soil. This is our base on a clay soil. Okay, let's say P, the load coming downwards. Now, ideally, this is the soil. So it is this area of the base that have a direct interface with the soil. Okay, this is now the soil. All right, so when this load comes on it during the wet season, you see that this soil is in a very soft state, especially the clay soil is especially if it's a soft clay. You see that when you load this soil, you see that is why it's important before loading you do your blinding. Possibly you do stabilization depending on the type of clay soil. You do your stabilization, then you do your blinding. Now all of these are trying to enhance this or strengthen that surface area of the clay soil. Okay, so but if that is not done, you see that when you start loading this structure or start loading the soil, you see that this compressible soil tends to create an upward Okay, that is, this base now will now displace this area, this contact area. And why displacing this contact area during the wet season? Because during the wet season, you see that water influences clay soil, because it is water that causes that clay soil to swell due to the presence of minerals, you know, in clay soil. So it swells. So when the load comes on it, you see that this the base will displace that area that it occupies. Okay, and you see the soil going, having a reaction by the side of the base because of the displaced area. All right, so that is that in during the wet season. All right, so please do well to follow this page if this is the first time you're coming across my video. For more updates, we'll continue the part 2 of it, which is that of the dry season. We'll continue in the next video. Stay connected, and thank you very much. Bye.